Hello everyone, welcome to Pratham Test Prep YouTube channel. I am Ashish Bhargav and welcome to each and everyone for daily news analysis that we held from Monday to Friday 11:30 a.m. As we know, the newspaper is very essential for the students who are preparing for the exam of CUT, CLAT and AILET. For you have to keep practicing the questions as well, because as we take the initiative that at the end of this YouTube session that we will ask you 3 to 5 questions that will be very essential for everyone, and I hope you guys are doing well. आप सारे अच्छे होंगे, स्वस्थ होंगे, उम्मीद करता हूँ यही, एंड आपकी वीकेंड भी अच्छी हुई होंगी. सो चलिए शुरू करते हैं. एंड हियर इज द कोड ऑफ द डे: अ लिटिल प्रोग्रेस ईच डे एड्स अप टू बिग रिजल्ट्स. सो which means that day by day you have to keep practicing, so that what's your ambition, whether the students is from the like a very good law college or some reputed college of DU, that you will get it. So daily practicing is very very important. And here is the second quote: is capacity to learn is a gift. The capacity to learn is a gift. The ability to learn is a skill. The willingness to learn is a choice. Is a great quote of Brian Hardwood. So you have to work on the skills. That is very very important. And as we have taken initiative of questions of the day, and that questions of the day is very important, because at the end of the YouTube session that we will ask you 3 to 5 questions of that is based on current affairs news, which means that the Hindu and Indian Express. Okay, here is the first news. Global Hunger Index is out. India is serious category at rank 107. What kind of questions can be framed? Who publish Global Hunger Index? What is the rank of India? And there is some kind of country like Sri Lanka and neighboring country. You have to be compared, like whatever the neighboring country is getting, क्या हम उनसे अच्छे हैं या उनसे हम बुरी पोजीशन पे हैं. So the country ranks below Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Afghanistan is the only South Asian country that lags behind India in the listing. आप देखें यहाँ पे तो ग्लोबल हंगर इंडेक्स जो है उसमें इंडिया की रैंक 107 है. दैट इज नीड टू बी रिकॉल वंस द क्वेश्चंस हैज बीन आस्क्ड इन योर एग्जामिनेशन. एंड कंट्री आप देखेंगे तो रुवांडा, नाइजीरिया, इथोपिया, रिपब्लिक ऑफ कॉन्गो, कॉन्गो कैपिटल कहाँ पे है, किंशासा, इन सब की रैंक है 105, 104, 102, 103. 106 पे सूडान है, 107 पे इंडिया एंड जाम्बिया, 109 अफगानिस्तान एंड टिमोर लेस्ट. सो ये पब्लिश कौन करता है ऑन द बिहाफ ऑफ कंसर्न वर्ल्ड वाइड. ये पब्लिश करते हैं इसे ग्लोबल हंगर इंडेक्स को. सो ग्लोबल हंगर इंडेक्स इज अ टूल फॉर कॉम्प्रिहेंसिवली मेजरिंग द ट्रैकिंग हंगर एट ग्लोबल लेवल, रीजनल एंड नेशनल लेवल. इसमें जो इंडिकेटर्स होते हैं वो क्या इंडिकेट करते हैं, उसमें चाइल्ड स्टंटिंग होती है, माल नरिशमेंट होती है, तो हम सारे इंडिकेटर्स को भी हम देखते हैं. सो इफ यू टॉक अबाउट ग्लोबल हंगर इंडेक्स 2022 measures to track hunger at global, regional and national level. Annual report for published in 2006 में publish किया गया था, that we need to be recalled 2006, prepared by, that is a kind of European NGO, non-governmental organization that concern worldwide and World Hunger Life. And what is the indicators of global hunger index? There are many indicators of global hunger index, that as we mentioned, like undernourishment, like which means insufficient caloric intake, which means that we know that there are many food, whatever the food we taken, that burn into the calorie, or we can say KCAL, which is kilocalorie. So undernourishment means that whatever the requirement of the calorie is not fulfilling by the person, whatever the age is concerned. And child stunting, which means that short height according to their age, which is known to be a child stunting. And child wasting, which means low weight as per the height. So there is no match of weight and height as well. And child mortality, which means that under the age of 5, a child is undernourished, that is we can say is mortality. So scoring how global hunger index is scoring, calculated 100-point scale reflecting the severity of hunger, 0 to the best score implies no hunger and 100% is worst. So India condition is that 9.9 low, moderate, serious, alarming, and extremely alarming. So global average score 18.2, that is moderate. India rank and score 107 out of 121, which is known to be a serious. And this stage we are here, if you talk about in our country. India neighbors, like India's rank below Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. China with a score of less than 5 is among the top 17 countries. So global Honda index score trend for India here 13.8 in 2000, 2007, 36.3, and 2014 28.2, and 2022 is 29.1. As we know that stunting, how we need to learn what exactly child is stunting? S, and here is short. So we need to be remember stunting, which means short. People are too short for their age. That is known to be a child stunting. What is child wasting? Which means wasting W. People are too thin for their height. So we need to recall like child wasting, which means people are too thin for their height, and obesity is people are overweighted. And how do we check it out? With the help of BMI, body mass index, which is not to be subject to learn, but only need to be recalled that what exactly BMI, body mass index. So stunting, which means short for their age, wasting people are too thin for their height, and obesity people are overweighted. That is malnutrition comes in many forms. Next one, if you talk about, is a recent controversy, is the Supreme Court delivers a split verdict on Karnataka hijab ban. So if there are any High Court verdict and Supreme Court verdict, that is very important to know for the, especially for the students who are preparing for the law aspirant. So as we know that Justice Hemant Gupta said the right to express herself by wearing a hijab stops at the school gate, freedom of expression guaranteed under Article 19. So freedom of expressions, which is guaranteed under Article 19, Clause A, does not extend to the wearing of headscarf. And again, justice say that wearing a hijab should be simply a matter of choice. It may be the only way her conservative family will permit her to go to school, and those cases the hijab is her ticket to education. So what kind of issues is going on? In short, we have to mention सुप्रीम कोर्ट के वर्डिक्ट में क्या चीज़ें आपने देखनी होती है कि आपको यहाँ पे राइट किस फंडामेंटल राइट्स का वायलेशन है, विच फंडामेंटल राइट्स वायलेशन इज हियर, एंड व्हाट इट शुड बी एंड व्हाट शुड बी द वे फॉरवर्ड. दैट्स इट. इंटायर इशू को हम बहुत डेप्थ में जाने की कोशिश नहीं करेंगे. एंड वाई वी आर स्टार्टिंग हियर बिकॉज ऑफ द रीजन सुप्रीम कोर्ट के वर्डिक्ट है, इसीलिए. तो ये बहुत सारे आर्टिकल्स आई थी, तो आप इसमें देखेंगे. यहाँ पे देखो, इसमें भी मैंने बता रखा है आपको, हिजाब वेयर जजेस डिफर्ड. इसमें क्या है, फ्रीडम ऑफ रिलीजन इज सब्जेक्ट टू रिस्ट्रिक्शंस इंक्लूडिंग इक्वालिटी बिफोर लॉ अंडर आर्टिकल 14. So here we need to understand the term equality before law and equal protection of law, which is both of these things are enshrined in our constitution. And we will need to be discuss about what exactly difference is equality before law and equal protection of law. Because equality under law, equality in the eyes of the law, legal equality and legal egalitarian is the principle that all people must be equally protected by the law, irrespective of there is citizens or non-citizens. And Article 14 of the Constitution guarantees that no person shall be denied the right to equality before law or equal protection of law in the territory of India. This is a right that can be claimed by any persons, whether it's citizens or non-citizens on Indian soil. What exactly the article is talking about? So denying students to right to wear a headscarf also denies them to right to attend classes, saying it would not amount to deny a right to education if the students by choice does not attend the school. Which means that we can say, like, if the someone is violation of one fundamental right, is also violation of second fundamental rights also. And as we know that right to education, which is enshrined in our constitution, is Article 21. That 21 Clause 8 has mentioned right to education. तो हमारे देश में शिक्षा का अधिकार है उन बच्चों को, irrespective of the religion, caste and gender. So student thus cannot claim the right to wear a headcraft to a secular school as a matter of right. Justice Gupta that argument that the wearing of headscarf provide a dignity to a school student as not, we can say, tenable. And the students are attending to all girls college and are liberty to carry their religious symbols outside the school, but in the university, the students should look alike, feel alike, think alike, and study together in a comprehensive, cordial atmosphere that is the object behind the uniforms as they bring about uniformity in appearance. What the school organization says about this, like whatever the uniform that we are providing, irrespective of the caste, religion, you have to follow this. Reasonable as the same as the effect of regulations of right to freedom of speech and expressions guaranteed by Article 19, Clause 1A. And one more thing that we need to say, that procedure, that is the freedom of consciences and religion, Article 25. And everyone has in our country, in the territory of India, have a right to propagate their religion as Article 25. That kind of article always need to be keep in mind. Article 25 says that freedom of consciences and religion, Article 25 of the subject to restrictions provided under Article 25, 1 Clause A. Such right is not just subject to public order, morality and health, but also provision of Part 3rd. This would also include Article 14, provides equality before law. We will discuss now what exactly equality before law and equal protection of law is. Justice Gupta said that right under Article 19(1)(a) does not extend to wearing of headscarf under the uniform prescribed. All students are bound to follow this, irrespective of which religion they are belonging. Second, Justice Sudhanshu Dhulia once said that asking schoolgirl to take a hijab, invasion of privacy and dignity, violation of Article 19, which is article which we can say, and Article 21, which is right to privacy also. So our school is our pre-university college, our perfect institution where our children just waking up to the rich diversity of the nation need to be counseled and guided so that they imbibe our constitution values and tolerance and accommodation towards those who may speak a different language, eat different food, or even wear different clothes or apparel. He said that under our constitution schemes, wearing a hijab should be simply a matter of choice. So constitution, what exactly the mention is that the under constitution schemes that I mentioned, wearing a hijab should be simply a matter of choice. It's not mandatory for the Muslim people. And one more thing, that asking a pre-university schoolgirl to take off the hijab at school gate is an invasion of privacy and dignity. It is clearly violation of fundamental rights given to her under Article 19(1) Clause A and 21 Constitution of India. The right to her dignity and privacy she claims in her person, even inside her school gate, or she is in the classroom. This is what we need to keep in mind. So there are two article violation, Article 19 and Article 21. So Article 14 of the Constitution of India says that a state shall not deny to any person equality before law and equal protection of law. Within the territory of India, both of these differ subjectively. So if we talk about equality before law, means that no one is above the law of land. Thus it has slightly negative connotation. It means that law does not discriminate on the basis of birth, position, gender and other personal attributes. Thus privileged, underprivileged and unprivileged are equal before law. So irrespective of any person, the law should be the same and no one is above the law. This is what exactly is equality before law means. If while we go to the further, like it has mentioned, equal protection of law means that law provides equal opportunity of all those who are in the similar circumstances or situations. This concept is slightly positive in the connotations. And why this is negative? Because sometimes, as we know that why it is negative connotations, because of the reason behind that, we can say in a simple manners that we can say that if sometimes like if the person is too much rich and person is very poor, both have a traffic challan of rupees 500s. This is a peanuts for the rich person, but think it about like poor people, it's a very huge amount. That's why it has mentioned that negative connotation. And equal protection of law is why it is slightly positive in connotation. So irrespective of any person, whether they are rich or poor, they have the same similar circumstances or situation. So law may provides equal opportunity to all those who are in the similar circumstances. This is what exactly is the equality before law and equal protection of law. As we need to know about, like again the same article as Supreme Court split on hijab against secularism versus matter of choice, trust of minority. No need to discuss again the same thing, but only that these things need to be recalled, that right to wear hijab in the classroom a matter of choice, a fundamental right linked to the girl's dignity and her privacy even she is inside the school gates. So this is what exactly the passage is talking about. No need to mention too much deep. Next article is India abstain on UNGA, which is United Nations General Assembly. United Nations General Assembly resolution against India. So what exactly is UNGA? When it was established? Where is the headquarters? 3-4 points need to be recalled. So India abstained in the UN General Assembly on a draft resolution on Wednesday that condemned Russia's illegal referendum and attempt to annex part of Ukraine. Saying New Delhi's decision is consistent with its well thought our nation position. Our country is ready to support efforts at de-escalation while insisting on finding peaceful solution through diplomacy. So how many members nation in UNGA? So United Nations General Assembly is the principal component of United Nations. It is the main governing body of the organization and also the most representative body in the UN. All the members of United Nations are represented in the UNGA, which is sometimes referred to as simply as GA, General Assembly. It has 193 members, all the UN members country. It meets annually in the headquarters in New York City, which is the administrative capital. No, it is the economic capital of USA. Economic capital. The same in our country, like economic capital of our country is Mumbai and administrative capital is New Delhi. Similarly, like in USA, economic capital is New York City and administrative capital is Washington DC, which means District of Columbia. Generally in the month of September, it can also meet at other times according to the need. The UNGA is headed by President, who is elected in the term of 1 year. It is sometimes called the Parliament of the World. UNGA deliberates and decides on important matters such as peace and security and other international issues. It also decides on the admission of new members. Let me know in the comment section who is the president name and who is the last member of UNGA. The UNGA deliberates on decisions of important matters such as peace, security. Decisions are taken by voting. Generally, a simple majority is considered. Simple majority, which means 50% plus 1 is simple majority. But in case of important decisions, 2/3 majority, which is known to be a special majority that needed. Each member has one vote. Unlike the Security Council, there is no veto power bestowed to anyone. Next is that ISRO on next generation launch vehicle may assume PSLV role. So as we know that PSLV, which means Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle. PSLV, which means Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle. PSLV. So Indian Space Research Organization, the term which we need to focus on this is ISRO existing PSLV will continue to be used in operation as long as their demand, as says Somnath S.R. Raghunathan. Here is the term NGLV and features semi-cryogenic. That term need to be recalled. Okay, what is cryogenic? Cryogenics is the science that addresses the production and effect of very low temperature. The word originates from the Greek word cryos, meaning frost, and genic, which means to produce. Under such a definition, it could be used to include all temperatures below the freezing point of 0 degrees centigrade. So cryogenic engine is used by the ISRO. This is only need to be recalled in this article. As you know, what is the launch vehicle used by the ISRO? SLV, which means Satellite Launch Vehicle. The first rocket developed by ISRO was simply SLV, which means Satellite Launch Vehicle. Sometimes they will ask you directly in the MCQ, and what kind of superlative degree word need to be recalled is, superlative degree is, like we can say, like SLV. SLV, which means Satellite Launch Vehicle. Satellite Launch Vehicle. They will ask superlative degree, which means that first, second, third, with the first rocket, second rocket, third rocket. That kind of question you usually ask in your exam. So first rocket developed by ISRO was SLV, Satellite Launch Vehicle. It was followed by Augmented Satellite Launch Vehicle, ASLV. And SLV and ASLV both could carry small satellite weighing up to 150 kg to lower Earth orbits. ASLV operated till the early 1990s before PSLV come on the come on the scene. PSLV was Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle. PSLV first launched in 1994. It has been ISRO's main rocket ever since. Today's Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle, however, is vastly improved and several times more powerful than the ones used in 1990s. It is the first Indian launch vehicle to be equipped with the liquid stages. And PSLV is the most reliable rocket used by ISRO till date, with 52 of its 54 flights being successful. Successfully launched two spacecraft, Chandrayaan-1 in 2008 and Mars Orbiter spacecraft in 2013, that later traveled to Moon and Mars respectively. ISRO currently uses two launch vehicles, PSLV and GSLV. With GSLV, which means Geosynchronous Satellite Launch Vehicle, and PSLV, which is Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle. But there are lots of different variants of these. So GSLV is a much more powerful rocket, means to carry heavier satellites much deeper into space. Till GSLV rockets have carried out 18 missions, of which 4 ended in failure. It can take 10,000 kg satellite to lower Earth orbits. The indigenously developed cryogenic upper stage CUS from the stage of GSLV Mk1 and Mk third version has made ISRO entirely self-sufficient at launching the satellite. SSLV, which means Small Satellite Launch Vehicle, is targeting rising global demand for the launch of a small microsatellite, and SSLV is used for cost-effective launch service because government is it's a cost, if you talk about, is a very less amount, has to be cost by the okay. Next we can say reusable rocket, future rockets. The future rockets are meant to be reusable. Only a small part of the rocket would be destroyed during the mission. The bulk of it would be re-enter the Earth atmosphere and land very much like an airplane. Cut down the cost of energy, fully reusable rocket. This is all we need to know. Third one is, does India need a population policy? And I have highlighted all these parts which is very relevant for your exam. Earlier this year, the United Nations published data to show that India would surpass China as the world's most populous country by 2023. According to 2018-19 economic survey, India demographic dividend will peak around 2041, when the share of working age population is expected to hit 59%. In this context, does India need a population policy? So here's the questions. So if we talk about, we need to move from a family planning approach. And second, we can see it is not whether the population is large or small. It is about whether it is healthy or skilled or productive. There are, if in your family, if there are 5 persons is there and only one is working, it means that the average income would be very less, because if for example his salary is around 50k per month, but there are 5 children is there. It means that if you divide equally 50k by 5, it means the average one is 10k only, which is very less in amount. So the concern is that whether the population is big or large, that's not a matter. It's matter of a choice. Matter is that whether the person is very productive for the economy, is generating some kind of job. Whether the person is skilled, it should be healthy, skilled and productive. But now the Chinese have a rapidly rising population of the elderly. China also tried to relax these policy and encourage people to, or even 2 children, not more than that. This is the China policies. So we should focus not on fertility rate, but on creating a situation in which slow changes in the family size take place in the context of growing economy. So however, it does not replace human nature and human touch. For example, I heard that Chinese family are now growing under the burden of taking care of elderly parents. If China had not invested in literacy and good health system, it would have been able to lower its fertility rate in any case. So I think we have much to learn from China because of the reason about what not to do, and especially in the case of elderly, where the estimates show that 12% of India total population by 2025 is going to be elderly. So if there is no youth, obvious that there is no output is going to the economy, and as well as skills sector is concerned. Third factor, we can say aging is also a gender issue, as 2/3 of the elderly are women, because women tend to live longer than men do. Unless we recognize the gender dimension, it will be very difficult to us to tap these changes. And as we know that the skilling and education of our large adolescent populations with a special focus on gender. So we look ahead addressing the need of young people should become a priority. We cannot allow the huge advance we have made in accelerating education, delaying child marriage, addressing sexual and reproductive health needs for the building the nation. India has a very good population policy which we have designed 2000 in the year of 2000, and the state also have a population policies. So we just need to tweak these and or add aging to our population policy focus, but otherwise the nation policy is the right policy we need to undertake. So population is not an issue, but matter is that whether they are producing, they are giving, they are contributing, they must be skillful so that the economy would be strengthened. A report on the northeast Delhi writes that nothing is more important. But why I have mentioned this, because sometimes they will ask you like, is there any kind of issues that were occurred? So why I have mentioned this, because sometimes in your the general opinion is very important. Sometimes they will ask you in your exam, like a citizen committee report of Northeast Delhi violence 2020 released last week. So only the gist of this is very important. So Citizenship Amendment Act 2019, Ministry of Home Affairs, in the latest annual report for 2021 has said that Citizenship Amendment Act 2019 is a compassionate and ameliorative legislative and does not deprive any citizen Indian of citizenship. The CAA, which aims to give citizenship to migrants belonging to Hindu, Sikh, Buddhist, Jain, Parsi or Christian communities from Afghanistan, Bangladesh or Pakistan, was notified on 12 December 2019. So issue in the Northeast, it contradicts Assam Accord of 1985, which states that illegal migrants, irrespective of religion, heading off from Bangladesh. There are estimated 20 million illegal Bangladeshi migrants in Assam, and they have altered the demography of the state, besides putting a severe strain of state resources and economy. So against fundamental rights, critics argue that it is a violative of Article 14 of the Constitution, which guarantees the right to equality and is applicable to both the citizens and foreigners, and the principle of secularism enshrined in the preamble of the Constitution. So nothing more is important in that article. Whatever the major point that we have discussed already. The Interpol General Assembly meeting in Delhi, what are the roles of function of International Criminal Police Organization, ICPO, and what is the significance of Red Notice? It is upcoming meeting in Delhi bring about major changes. So the General Assembly of International Criminal Police Organization, Interpol, is meeting in Delhi for 4 days from October 18. Head of the Interpol is decided who is elected by the General Assembly. He comes from one of the member nations and holds office for 4 years. The day-to-day activities are overseen by a full-time Secretary General, also elected by General Assembly. All contact of the country's law enforcement agencies with Interpol through the highest investigation body of the land. The CBI assumes to the role of this India. So Interpol, when it was set up in 1923, Interpol is a secure information sharing platform that facilitates criminal investigation of police forces across the globe, not in India, across the globe through collection and dissemination of information received from various police forces. It keeps tracks of the movements of criminals and those under the police radar in various regions and tips of police forces which had either sought the Interpol assistance. How is Interpol organized? The head of the Interpol is the president, who is elected by General Assembly. He comes from one of the member nation, which I have already discussed. And here is a red notice. Red notice, which means it is a structured communication issued by the Interpol to all member nations, notifying the name of the person against whom the arrest warrant is pending and particularly country. So if any person is, we can say that is not in the we can say in the ambit of the police, in that case the warrant is issued, and that is known to be a red notice. So entire global police leadership will be in Delhi for this session. Smuggling of arms and drugs continues to worry those who desire to see a stable world order. And what the Interpol future challenges? Rising specter of transnational cyber and organized crimes require a globally coordinated law enforcement response. So Interpol has an aging legacy of trust and reliability. So if you talk about like Interpol notice international request, we have already discussed. International Crime Police Organization is an intergovernmental organization that helps coordinate to police force of 194 member countries. Each of the, because UNGA have the same member country, so each of the member countries hosted the Interpol National Center Bureau NCB. This connects their national law enforcement with other countries and with the General Secretariat. Headquarters is Lyon, France. Notices can be also used by the United Nations, International Criminal Tribunals and International Criminal Court to seek persons wanted for committing crimes, whether their jurisdiction, notably genocide, war crimes or crimes against humanity. Headquarters need to be remembered because they will highly chance that they will ask you to in your exam. Where is the Interpol headquarters? The Lyon is in place in France. Here is a red notice, yellow notice, red notice which means wanted person, yellow notice for missing person, blue notice for additional information, black notice like unidentified bodies, and green notice warning and intelligence, orange notice for imminent threat, and purple and Interpol Security Council special notice. Center to help set up paddy straw pellet unit, which means we are talking about stubble burning, residue burning, and as we know that like the time of Diwali in the Delhi NCR area, that is very vulnerable in terms of pollution is concerned. So what is the issue? Residue burning, what is the affected? Loss of soil, flora and fauna, deteriorated the soil fertility, also loss of plant nutrients, biodiversity, global warming, also emission of greenhouse gases released to soot particle causing smog, health hazards to human, animal and birds, loss of biodiversity and loss of carbon as well. So there are the many consequences of residue burning. While we go to the further, like next one is vegetable cereals prices push inflation. It's a daily, if you will see the newspaper in the daily, there is the article of inflation. So not need to be covered. What is the best way to complete the newspaper article? Once you make the inflation notes, the short notes should be, so that you can recall it very easily. Make the article like almost 8 to 10 stanza, make a short notes. There no need to be worry about like if the daily article is published. Only the term is CPI, Consumer Price Index. What is a WPI? So inflation, which means simply we can say like rising of price in a market, is in simple like rising of price, goods and services. That is known to be inflation. How the RBI curve the inflation in our country? Through by the RBI monetary policy, which we can say publish the report of quarterly. And what is the tools through which that we RBI use, central bank uses the inflation is WPI, wholesale price index and consumer price index. So what exactly this one is? In short, we can say again same article, inflation, no need to read each and every stanza. So cause of inflation, we can say factor affecting demand, increase in money supply, increase in disposable income, increase in public expenditure, increase in consumer spending, like cheap monetary policy, deficit financing, increase in population, black money, repayment of public debt, increase in exports. Factors affecting supply is that shortage of factors in production, industrial disputes, calamities, scarcities, increase in exports, low-sided production. There are many reasons for causes of inflation which we have studied in class 11, 12 micro and macroeconomics. So WPI and CPI, that we have these things that we have already discussed a day before yesterday in a daily news analysis class. Please go and watch that session. That is very important. That inflation, that wholesale price index, consumer price index. RBI uses CPI, consumer price index. Why it is so? Because consumer level पे जो आपकी inflation होती है उसको RBI measurement करती है. Wholesale level पे आप नहीं कर सकते, because wholesale level पे एक entrepreneur को कितना face करना पड़ा है, inflation से क्या impact होता है वो देखेंगे आप. So little bit of inflation is required because of the reason कि अगर इससे expand ज़्यादा होगा तो obvious सी बात है, यहाँ पे production cost will be more taxes, more people, more machine, more space, the more tax will be going to the government of India. So इसमें आपको headline inflation and core inflation, that is your homework, you need to do it yourself. Basically headline inflation होता है total inflation for the economy, and volatile inflation which means food, vegetable and energy product पे जो आपको cost होती है. So CPI और WPI तो आपको RBI यूज करती है CPI tools to measure the inflation in our country. Now the time for questions of the day. So let's get start. Questions of the day here is with reference to the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act 2005 MG Narega, consider following statements. It is right to work program that guarantees 100 days of employment of every rural household that demands work. The Ministry of Rural Development, in association with state government, social audit of MG Narega work is mandatory and it is centrally sponsored scheme. So which one is correct? Take your time and try to find it out which statement is correct. So obvious the answer would be here D, all this statement is correct one. So MG Narega is a right to work program that guarantees 100 days of employment to every rural household, not individual, that demands work. Implementation Ministry of Rural Development, MRD, need to be recalled because sometimes they will directly ask you like MG Narega scheme comes under which ministry. So it is, we can say, just a second. In association with within 15 days of submitting the application from the day work is demand driven scheme, wage employment will be provided to the applicant and allowance in case of employment are provided. Social audit of MG Narega work is mandatory. Gram Sabha and Gram Panchayat approve the shelf of work under MG Narega. Gram Sabha, which means the member of like one who is in the electoral list, which means voter list में जिनके भी नाम है, that is known to be Gram Sabha. Gram Panchayat, one who elect to the people of Gram Sabha, elected to the Gram Panchayat. There is a difference of Gram Sabha and Gram Panchayat. Consider the following statements. The 8th schedule of the Constitution of India listed official language of India. Article 343 declares the official language of Union shall be Hindi in Devanagari script. Hindi Divas or Hindi Day is observed every year 14 September to mark the popularity of Hindi as an official language of India. To guess which one is the right answer. All right. So D, yes. If you talk about first, second, third, all are correct answer. So statement 1, Assamese, Bengali, Gujarati, Hindi, Kannada, Kashmiri, Konkani, Malayalam, Manipuri, Marathi, Nepali, Odia, Punjabi, Sanskrit, Sindhi, Tamil, Telugu, Urdu, Bodo, Santali, Maithili and Dogri are the 22 languages presently in the 8th schedule of the Constitution. And part 14th of the Constitution is Part 17th of the Constitution comprises Article 340-351 deals with the subject. The Article 343(1) declares the official language of the Union shall be Hindi in Devanagari script. But a reading of Article 343 Clause 2 onwards reveals that difficult to complicated terrain the official language issue have to navigate in a multilingual nation like India with its government institution dominated by the laws. Statement third is that September 14 is observed the Hindi Day. It was this date in 1949 that the Constituent Assembly adopted Hindi as in Devanagari script and the official language of Indian Union after long and animated debate. So presently we have Hindi and English is the official language of our country. Next one, the last question is of the day is dengue is a viral infection transmitted to humans through the bite of infected female mosquitoes. When a mosquito bites, it not only sucks blood but also secretes saliva and enters bloodstream. At present, a specific medication and vaccine is available to treat dengue. So obvious that there is no specific medication and vaccine is available, so third one we cannot say. Obvious C would be the right answer. Of course C is the right answer. So dengue is a viral infection transmitted to humans through the bite of infected mosquitoes. The primary vectors that transmit the disease are female Aedes aegypti mosquito. Female Aedes need to be recalled, and to lesser extent that is albopictus. There is no specific treatment for dengue and severe dengue. So there is no specific treatment is available. Early detection of disease progression associated with severe dengue and access to proper medical care lowers fatality rates and severe dengue below 1%. So when a mosquito bites, it not only sucks blood but secretes saliva. So this saliva enters the blood. There is an exchange of fluid between the mosquito and the bloodstream. That's why that's causing very high fever in the patient is from the dengue. So I hope you all enjoyed lesson a lot. So we'll meet in the next session very soon. So stay tuned. Bye bye and take care to everyone. Thank you so much for joining with us. We'll meet you tomorrow at the same time. Bye bye and take care.